Well, hello, how are you? My name is Jeff. I'm so glad you could be with me today. Why don't me and you, just sit down, enjoy a cup of coffee, and have a nice, calm conversation. Actually, it'll be me doing most of the talking, as you can't respond to anything I say, so let's just make the best of it. Now, before I get started, I want to point out that last week I made a joke about Joel and the Bots doing a clip show. Best Brains did a bunch of flashbacks to previous episodes, and I thought that was a little weird. But Bort Ward 8268 explained it to me in a message. He said, "The reason why this episode's host segments seem lazy is because the principal cast was doing promotional work, so most of the writers were gone when they wrote the script." Well, that does explain it, since the show was really starting to take off at the time, but I have to admit, it doesn't stop the hurt. Anyway, so today I'm going to talk about a film that was first shown on Mystery Science Theater on December 22nd, 1990. It's a 1955 science fiction film called King Dinosaur, directed by Bert I. Gordon, yes, Mr. Big himself, and it stars William Bryant, Wanda Curtis, Douglas Henderson, Patti Gallagher, and, well, no others. We have 4 cast members in this movie. Now, this was the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode in which Joel and the Bots do a beatnik thing, reading poetry and wondering if it should rhyme. An error by Frank causes Dr. Forrester to be crushed. Crow does a monologue in which he wonders if he can change the world, and of course we get the Joey the Lemur song. By the way, Joey sounds a lot like Gilbert Gottfried. Terrifying, fantastic, startling. See a prehistoric world of fantastic adventure come to life. King Dinosaur, mightiest monster of them all. Terror, nothing like it in 150 million years. Well, I don't know. That might be overselling it just a little. Because this film, well, it's missing an essential ingredient that's in most quality films. What do they call that thing again? Oh, they call it a plot. Yes, this film is missing a plot. Anyway, for those new to the show, while I'm talking about a film that was first shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000, I'm more talking about the film itself and not so much about Joel and the Bots. Sorry. On a quick side note here, every week, as soon as I publish, somebody gives me a thumbs down. I don't know if it's the same guy or different people, but maybe that's why. They're coming here to hear talk about the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. And hey, those shows are all on the internet. You can watch them anytime you want and make up your own mind. Anyway, I'm talking about the films, and we can't talk about King Dinosaur without talking about the one and only Bert I. Gordon, Mr. Big. Bert I. Gordon was born in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and lived from 1922 to 2023. He was 100 years old when he died. Yes, Tom Servo was right. Orson Welles was born in Kenosha as well, which isn't too far from where I live now. This is a picture of Welles and Gordon on the set of Necromancy, Gordon's 1972 film that starred Welles. According to Gordon's daughter, creating this film with Welles was the highlight of his career. Bert went to the University of Wisconsin but dropped out to serve in the Air Force in World War II. After, with his new wife, he made television commercials in St. Paul, Minnesota. But in his heart, he wanted to make films, so he and his family moved to California. He was a production assistant on the TV show Racket Squad and a cameraman on a film called Serpent Island from 1954. Now, a guy named Guy Ritchie wrote a screenplay called King Dinosaur for Al Zimbalist, most likely to capitalize on the re-release of King Kong, which happened about a year earlier. But from what I've read, nothing from the movie we know as King Dinosaur was used from that script. Alfred N. Zimbalist was born in the Ukraine and lived from 1910 to 1975. At the age of 19, he became one of the youngest editors in the film industry. He worked all types of film jobs before becoming a producer of such low-budget classics as 1953's Robot Monster and Catwoman on the Moon, 1954's Miss Robinson Crusoe, and 1957's Monster from Green Hell. Anyway, Zimbalist and Gordon ended up writing a script called The Beast from Outer Space, but for some unknown reason decided to use the name of the previous screenplay, King Dinosaur, a title which, in my opinion, has nothing to do with the final film. In his book, Keep Watching the Skies, American Science Fiction Movies of the 50s by Bill Warren, Bill describes the film this way. The film doesn't warrant much discussion except for those who made it. Produced on less than a shoestring, perhaps the tip of the laces, it's a dreary, phony, exploitative little science adventure with a no-named cast. The only reason to mention it, except for the record, is that it was made by Bert I. Gordon, who turned out science fiction and fantasy films for years. This was his first. None were good, though a few were of some interest. Now I have to disagree because I enjoy some of Bert's films. There's The Amazing Colossal Man from 57, Attack of the Puppet People from 58, Tormented from 1960, and even Village of the Giants from 1965. Yes, they were cheesy, with poor special effects, questionable dialogue, mediocre acting, but in a strange way, they were amusing. Maybe that's because I'm old, and when I was a kid, we would wait for these films to be shown on TV. We would look forward to them being shown on TV. And I can't help but give King Dinosaur a break. I mean, it was made for little money, an estimated $15,000, as cheap as a film could be made. I would guess that was in the minds of Zimbalist Gordon and screenwriter Tom Greist when they wrote the script containing only 4 actors. Keeping the amount of actors to a minimum, and keeping the sets to a minimum, or in this case no sets at all, saves a bunch of cash. And when you use 20 minutes of stock footage, including footage from the film 1 million years BC, you can make a film for less than $15,000. I can forgive all that. In fact, I find that almost charming. What I can't forgive is a stupid script, and that's where I have difficulty with this film. Did someone dare the writers to write a script in which nothing happens? I bet you can't write a script without a plot and make money, someone asks. Every time I watch it, the end makes me cringe, and I'll get to that a bit later. Now I know this is a Lippert production, but I'm guessing that Lippert only bought the film after it was made and had nothing to do with its production. And besides, I've talked about Lippert enough in the past, so. As far as the actors, William Bryant plays Dr. Ralph Martin. Bryant lived from 1924 to 2001. He was one of those actors we find a lot in these lower budget films that had a long career including television. One of those actors that seems to pop up all the time, but you never know his name. His career started in 1949 doing a lot of uncredited parts, and he kept on working till 2001. His characters rarely had a name, just titles like deputy, radar monitor, or helicopter pilot. But more power to him, he kept on going. Wanda Curtis plays Dr. Patricia Bennett, and as far as I can tell, this was her only film. She was born in 1928, and according to IMDb, was known for her sultry voice, red hair, and her revealing gowns designed by Richard Selzer. Curtis had a brief career of minor fame in the mid-50s as a nightclub and stage singer. For the film, she was forced to dye her hair blonde as to better distinguish herself from her co-star Patti Gallagher. Patti Gallagher plays Nora Pierce, and I can find nothing about her except she had a short acting career, 5 years, that included the film Girl with an Itch from 1958. Douglas Henderson plays Dr. Richard Gordon. Douglas was another one of those actors I've seen again and again but never knew his name. He lived from 1919 to 1978 and had a long career, starting in 1944 and lasting until 1976. He was in From Here to Eternity in 1953, Invasion of the Saucermen from 57, and The Manchurian Candidate from 1962. He also did a ton of television. He reminds me a little of Dick Miller, and I'm not sure why. And then there's Marvin Miller as the narrator. Marvin lived from 1913 to 1985. He was known for his deep baritone voice. You might know him as the voice of Robbie the Robot in the science fiction film Forbidden Planet. He also had a very successful acting career. So anyway, what is King Dinosaur? Well, it seems that a new planet has wandered into our solar system, one they call Nova. Wait a minute, there's a delicate balance between the existing planets to keep them all in orbit and such, and I would guess that a large planet drifting into our solar system would cause chaos. But whatever, suspension of disbelief. So after the credits, a rocket is being built to send a few American scientists to this new planet. We get a good look at the science that went into building the first rocket, created with all stock footage. In fact, we are 6 minutes into a 63-minute film before we see any actual new footage. We meet our cast, and I have to give it to the filmmakers having 2 women as crew members. This was a refreshing idea. Not even Stanley Kubrick or NASA thought of that. And soon after, we go back to stock footage. There's a thrilling, uneventful ride to Planet Nova. And I'm wondering what the interior of the spaceship looked like, but that would require building sets and that would run up the cost, so we can't have that. The first 2 humans on the New World walk hand in hand. And now it's time to test the atmosphere.
We're going to start our test, Dick, to see if it's safe to remove our suits. Your instruments are on their way down. Hurry up with the test so Nora and I can get out and join you, huh?
So now, 15 minutes into the film, our characters are finally on Nova and ready for some action. But first, how about a bath?
All I can see is that water, and that means a bath, Nora, and let's get some clean clothes and have one, huh? Uh-huh. Ladies first, please.
Sadly, we don't see the women bathing, so anyway, we cut to a bunch of walking and walking and walking.
Much further?
I want some samples from that rock strata.
Look, I understand that this film was made on a shoestring budget and film stock is expensive, or was back in the day. That's why Bert I used a lot of stock footage. But when he actually splurges on new footage and pays actors and such, maybe he could have thought of something a little more interesting than 4 people walking through a forest. And I'm just saying to all you young filmmakers out there, make every frame of your film count.
That island. I wonder what's over there.
Oh wait, it looks like something's gonna happen.
Well, vegetation certainly looks different from that around here.
Maybe we can pay it a quick visit before we leave.
Nope, I was wrong, but they made plans for something to happen. Oh wait, this looks like something. So she's a scientist and she's scared to death of a snake, huh? Well, that was 17 seconds of action. How about a setting up the camp montage? When you were packing, didn't you think of bringing a tent? And now it's nighttime on Planet Nova. How about some more walking? And then an alligator. Dr. Ralph trips and falls into the beast's mouth. Now that's action.
Dick, wake up!
Lost a lot of blood.
Oh, it's all my fault.
It's nobody's fault. What were you doing away from this area anyway? You know you're not supposed to leave camp.
I know.
You better get some sleep. You're gonna need it.
What's this? A conflict between characters? Now you're talking, but it goes nowhere. So the team split up. Richard and Patricia try to find the rocket while Nora tends to Ralph's wounds. But just when Ralph seems to be recovering, there's a giant bug. Call Casper Van Dien. stop screaming. You're a scientist, damn it.
I need some medicine.
And there's always time for love, even on a scientific expedition. So this film is going to be a romantic adventure. Not so much. Like everything in this film, their relationship goes nowhere. When Dick and Pat return, they bring Joey the lemur. He's really not a lemur, but a kinkajou, but we'll let that go. Now it's time for dinner, and look who's doing the cooking. One of the women. I see.
Hey, who's the cook in the outfit tonight? I'll do it. I bet you're hungry. This one's been eating all day long.
Good. He'll get his strength back faster that way.
More than half the film's over, and now we're watching a man drink water with the kinkajou at night. Shouldn't we have a plot or something by now? Another snake, a growling snake. Oh, good thing the snake left on its own. We might have had a scene. So in the morning, the group breaks up once again. Getting supplies, does that count as action? Or setting up a raft? If we hadn't had seen that, we would have thought the raft just magically appeared. They arrive on the island, and I will point out that there's only 20 minutes left in the film. Bert I. Gordon, if you're thinking about a plot, this might be the time. Oh wait, you want more walking? Okay.
What a desolate, forsaken place. Get that rumbling. Almost an animal roar.
Still sounds like thunder to me. Do you want to go on or turn back?
Let's go on.
With 15 minutes left, we finally have something! A giant lizard! They could just sneak away, of course, but instead they scream and shoot, even though the monster has shown no interest in them whatsoever. Fine. Just shove her out of your way, Dick. I hope her head didn't hit one of those rocks. Run fast, because the creature is, well, standing in one spot. Oh, sorry, I'm still watching the film.
Joe! Where's Joe?
Now Pat is worried about Joe, the kinkajou. You know, the indigenous life that was doing just fine before the humans arrived? Anyway, Dick goes to get it, and I think he was almost killed. We don't get to see what actually happened. They're trapped, and all I can think of was that poor iguana who's being shoved into that hole. I wonder if it was Bert I doing the shoving. Who knows? And then we have a staring contest between two prehistoric monsters.
Nobody's gonna believe this.
I certainly don't. The poor animals! So Dick shoots off a red flare to let the others know that they are in trouble because they can help. How?
This monster dominates Nova just as similar ones dominated Earth 125 million years ago. It's like living in the past.
Well, who cares? No one's ever going to believe us anyway, if we ever care.
Tearing up a photo of an unknown life form on a new planet. That's science! So they're able to escape because the two monsters who were fighting each other roll down a hill.
Faster!
Glad the other two came to help, and by help, I mean to tell them to run faster. None of the four did anything to solve any problems until they came up with this plan.
I brought the atom bomb. I think it's a good time to use it.
Okay, I need to stop right there. I brought the atomic bomb and I think it's a good time to use it. First of all, why did you bring an atomic bomb? Second of all, why is it a good time to use it? Maybe that's what happened to the dinosaurs on Earth. It wasn't an asteroid. 4 jerks from another world brought an atomic bomb. And why didn't we know about this atomic bomb earlier? Hadn't the writers of this film ever heard of Chekhov's gun? And how do they think they're going to get away from this explosion? On a rubber raft? And look, they escaped the dinosaurs fine without the bomb, so why are they setting off the bomb? Is one of these people Nelson Muntz?
Gotta nuke something.
Touché.
That's a huge mushroom cloud. How far away did they get? A half mile, maybe, at the most?
We've done it.
Yeah. We sure have done it. We brought civilization to planet Nova.
Yes, you did, scientists, pointlessly and needlessly. Now, when they get back to Earth, they're going to have to explain to the scientific community that they discovered a life form that has been extinct on planet Earth for millions of years. And what did they do to this life form that thousands, if not millions, of scientists would like to study? They blew it up. Try to explain that. You know, there's a chance that life may exist on one of the moons of Jupiter, and someday humankind will probably send an astronaut to that moon to investigate this potential life. I'm begging them now, with every bit of my heart, leave the nuclear weapons at home. You know, I must admit that until I watched the film for this episode, I never watched it without the riffing before. And now that I have, I didn't realize how plotless this film was. I mean, the film's only like an hour long and I couldn't stay awake. It was a tough watch. And where is this King Dinosaur? I didn't see a King Dinosaur. Are they talking about that iguana? You know, 2 years after this film, Bert I would make The Cyclops, The Amazing Colossal Man, and The Beginning of the End, and the following year he would make Earth vs. the Spider, War of the Colossal Beast, and Attack of the Puppet People, so I guess it didn't hurt his career. Now, the MST3K version was only 57 minutes, which means they cut about 6 minutes of the film, and I think most of that was the spaceship flying through outer space before it gets to planet Nova, and you didn't miss anything there. Now, during the first season of Mystery Science Theater 3000, Joel used to do a thing in which he would have the bots say something good and say something bad about the film they just watched. And I thought, that's a good idea, and I've said enough bad things about the film already, so I need to come up with something good to say about this film. And I racked my brain and I couldn't come up with anything. So I went to user reviews. I'm like, maybe some people in the user reviews would have something positive to say about this movie, but again, no one says anything positive about this movie. Then I came up with something. I did. This movie makes Plan 9 from Outer Space look like a masterpiece. Now, I say that because for years I've told people that Plan 9 is not the worst film ever made, and now I've got positive proof. Seriously, King Dinosaur has no reason to exist. Now I'm going to put it out there to all the YouTube viewers. Can you find something good to say about this film? If so, please put it in the comments below. I would really like to know. You know, even the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version of this film isn't all that good. It's not one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, there are a few chuckles here and there, but it's not a great episode. I think the riffing on the short, Marks the Spot, is funnier than the ones during this film. But anyway, why don't we watch some of the best of the riffing from King Dinosaur?
Oh no, Robert Lippert! Oh, yikes! Oh, here are the effects of 13 rum and Diet Cokes are tested.
I'd say this patient is dead. I'm no expert, but dead's the word.
I believe by the end of this decade we will land a piece of stock footage on another planet. Ask not what a process shot can do for you.
There's animal life here.
Yeah, quite
There
terrible.
must be plenty of water there.
Great.
Cute.
I'm scared to death, and I don't mind admitting it.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Dedicated Scientist.
It'd be a lot easier to find our way in the daylight.
Isn't it daylight now?
Boy, burn a human body. There's not much left of them.
I was wondering if we could finish our walk later.
Hey, who's the cook in the outfit tonight? I'll do it.
Yeah, how do you like your lemur?
So, we'll just let this scene trail off then.
You do whatever work you can around here.
Yeah, why don't you stay here and practice screaming? Good, but back of the throat, a little higher.
Joe, come on.
Hey, shut up. I'm eating over
Come
here.
on.
What a desolate, forsaken place.
What a stilted, pretentious
That
line.
rumbling.
It resembles the Tyrannosaurus rex of Earth's prehistoric age.
Sorry, no way.
Tyrannosaurus rex. King Dinosaur.
That's a lizard from
This
Pet
monster
World.
dominates Nova just as similar ones dominated Earth 125 million years ago. It's like living in the past.
It's an iguana.
Come on.
What is it?
It's an iguana. Now shut up.
Now that that's done, where's Lippert? I'm coming for you.
I brought the atom bomb. I think it's a good time to use it.
Oh, that's your answer to everything. Just use the atom bomb. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I think the film on this lake is better than the film we're watching.
We did the right thing, didn't we? They'd never surrender. It was right for us to blow them up. Thanks for annihilating everything I know. Hey, there's a certain glow about June.
Well, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the new subscribers out there. And thank you to all the previous subscribers. You know, it never ceases to amaze me that people actually subscribe to my little channel here. And thank you to everybody who left comments. That's wonderful. And if you've got anything to add to what I've said, or you know, you can correct something. I mean, I get things wrong. If you want to correct me, that's wonderful too. Just make sure they're constructive criticism, right? Don't just say, Jeff, you suck. And I've got a few of those in the past. So, but anyway, just make it constructive. I'd love to hear from you. And next week, I'm going to do a film from 1962 called First Spaceship on Venus. Now, this was a recut, dubbed version of an East German Polish film called The Silent Star from 1960. And I think there might be a lot to talk about when it comes to this film. Let's hope so. So, thanks for watching. I'll be back next week. I really appreciate you guys. Take care. So long. Ciao.